How you doing, Jeff Zimfer? Welcome back to this episode of Loan Officer Marketing TV. We're picking up where we last left off, talking about the perfect customer life cycle. And so in our last session, we talked about the first step in that process of your perfect customer life cycle is to attract traffic by way of having lead magnets that people are interested in. By the way, when I say attract traffic, I'm not just talking about online, right? That's just only one form of traffic. Traffic can be foot traffic to your local office. Traffic can be any events that you hold in your local area, whether it be consumer events or real estate agent events, right? The bottom line is you've got to attract some traffic to people, get people out, get people aware that you even exist and you have something of value to offer. That thing of value is a lead magnet. And we asked you last time, what are the lead magnets you're using to attract those people to be interested in doing business with you? So if you haven't commented on that before, you can go ahead and share what your lead magnets are right now. So on to step 2 in the process, and I'm taking you through my my little cutout here. We're just going and blowing right here, right? Just trying to bring you some value. Step 2 is, can you see this? Yeah, capture leads, right? So once you've attracted that traffic, hey, it's great that you've got a stampede or a group of people coming to your website, your blog, coming to your event, your seminar, calling you on the phone because of a referral or whatever it is. It's great that you're doing that. Real question is how are you going to capture those people? Because, you know, they haven't decided to do business with you. And I'll tell you this, here's what I believe, where and in your heart of hearts, you'll admit this, and I know I've talked to plenty of loan officers who admit that if they could look back 5 years and would have done a better job at capturing people's information and building their own opt-in database, they'd be a lot better off today. So my point with that is I don't care what you're doing, right? Whether it's online, offline, you need to be building your own database. Your own database is what I call opt-in, right? Online, in the email world, people use that to describe people who've agreed to give you their information to receive communication from you. Typically, when they do that, it's because of the lead magnet you're offering in exchange for their information, like their email, maybe their address, maybe their phone number. Depends what you ask up front, depends on what the scenario is. But the point is this, is that you've got to capture leads and build your own database. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of everything else and everyone else, right? You are in control of nothing if you don't build your own opt-in database of people who are at least interested in some communication from you. So how do you do that, right? Well, a simple way to do that, if you're doing things online, for example, like Facebook posts and all those various other things, if you've got a blog, if you're doing social media, whatever it is, right, is have an opt-in form, right? And it's very inexpensive to have an opt-in form somewhere on your web page, somewhere, even on Facebook you're allowed to do that. But an opt-in form is simply a little form where people are allowed to put at its basic level their first name and their email address. And they do that, as I said, in exchange for the lead magnet that you're offering, the home buyer free report, the 7 things to look out for when buying your first home, 12 tips to not pay too much for, a short sale, or whatever it is, right? And the same is true for your referral partners. Business building related information that's relevant to them and offering them content and topics that would be of interest to them. And there's so many different platforms you can do that out there with. If you've got a WordPress blog, there's something called Gravity Forms that allows you to be able to capture those leads there. If you're using an email autoresponder, something like an Aweber, a Constant Contact, a MailChimp, an iContact. I just gave you 3 or 4 of some of the more popular companies that allow you to have a web capture form on your website, on your blog, virtually anywhere, Facebook, and allow you to capture people's name and email address if you're doing some outbound lead generation marketing, capturing these leads. If you're buying leads, obviously, right? Even if you're getting their phone number and things like that, you still want to be able to capture their information to build that database. That's what it's all about, because you may change companies and you move from one company to the other. What's going to be key to you is that database. And so you need to start doing that, number 1. Number 2, even if you've already done it, you have some sort of a database. Go back to what we said on the last session, which was what kind of lead magnets, what kind of relevant problem-solving information and content can you now begin to offer, even the database you've built up over the last so many years. So you have to have a process that encourages people to sign up to receive your content, right? And I mentioned a few ways that you can do that. I'd like to hear some ways that maybe you're doing it out there. Are you using something like a Aweber or an iContact or a MailChimp and things like that? What that allows you to do then by using those types of platforms, and there's Mortgage CRM out there as well, another good one. Depends what your appetite for taking this on is. Really the question is what happens after they opt in? And that's where some of those services that I mentioned can come in handy, because they will provide for you the ability to send them automatic messages, automatic content, without you being involved once you create it. So the idea would be like this. You got your lead magnet, right? Somebody wants to get the information you have. Boom. They opt in. You capture their information with their name and email address. Boom. Step 3 is that provider that you use, one of those email service providers, or, as I mentioned, Gravity Forms, whatever it is. Now, once they've opted in and subscribed for that specific information, then you can automate the delivery of that information. You can do a 7 series email, a 12 series emails. You can put them on a campaign for an entire year, whatever it is. There's a bunch of different platforms out there. You can send them the free report and allow them to download it. And in some cases, on some of those platforms, you can even track when they're opened and download. And then what that can do is trigger you to then know who to call and follow up with, because they're more of a hot prospect because they've actually downloaded a report or watched a video or whatever the case is. So this is when you really start to build some intelligence and really start to build different levels of lead scoring for you and your marketing, so that you can focus your attention on the people who may be more ready to buy in the shorter term than the longer term. So that's step 2 in your perfect customer life cycle. Once you've attracted the traffic with a compelling lead magnet, and next step is to be able to capture their information. And I'll just tell you lastly, real quickly, an example of a seminar. I did a seminar with Envoy Mortgage in Houston just a few weeks back, and we had about 65 agents show up to this educational seminar. It was a free thing for the agents, and we had co-sponsors of title, escrow, and all that. And so the seminar basically was at 0 cost to the mortgage company. But what they got out of that, not only was the names of 65 agents, actually it was over 100 agents, those who RSVP'd, but only 65-ish showed up, which is still a great show rate. Not only did they get that, but you think about this now. They've built that trust and that credibility and that impact and that relationship with those 65 agents. Even better than that is, before they left that day, they scheduled, I think it was 6 appointments with agents for the next week to follow up and have meetings one-on-one to find out how they can work together. And in that next week, already they got 1 contract handed to them, a purchase contract. So that's one example of some of you asking, well, yeah, Jeff, well, how do I attract traffic? I'm not doing anything online. Hey, great. I'm not saying online is the best way to go for you yet either, because if you don't master the local, the face-to-face, the belly-to-belly, forget about online, right? Because that's where the crux of your business is going to occur. So that's my advice to you. If you want to have a place that's easy and simple to start and doesn't cost you any money, you don't want to deal with messing with Google and pay-per-click and all that stuff, host a free educational seminar. And if you want more details about how to do that, if I get enough people asking, maybe I'll host a free call or a free webinar on how we do that. And you can decide if it's something for you as well. So, hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments below. If you like it, give me a like, share it, share some love. Coming to you with more. Keep an eye on the hot seats. There's more coming. Jeff Zimfer, Loan Officer Marketing TV. Make it a good one. Bye for now.